In today's video, we're flying from Colombia back to the US with Emirates. This unique 3-hour route on the 777 was launched just 2 months ago as a way to connect Dubai with one of South America's biggest cities and bolster trade between the two countries located on opposite sides of the world. Dubai to Bogotá is an 8,500-mile journey, technically doable with the Emirates A380 and 777-300ER. However, just because it's possible doesn't mean it's economical. And when you factor in the high altitude of Colombia's capital, the nonstop journey all of a sudden becomes very difficult to pull off unless you have a weight-restricted plane, which Emirates wasn't looking to do. This chart shows just how drastic an effect pressure altitude has on takeoff distance. The pressure altitude at Bogotá on a standard day would be 8,400 feet, meaning we'd only be able to load the plane 80% max to get that thing off the ground in Bogotá before it ran out of runway. Now, in this example, even if we had the longest runway in the world, we couldn't take off at max takeoff weight, as the plane would reach its tire speed limit before it could generate enough airflow over the wings to get it in the air. So to avoid all this complexity and maximize passenger and cargo capacity, Emirates decided to introduce one-stop service through Miami on the already established EK213. Now, instead of terminating in Miami, the 777-300ER now flies onwards to Bogotá before beginning the roughly 21-hour trek back to Dubai. If you watched my last video, you know that it's possible to book just the Miami to Bogotá segment, presenting a unique opportunity for Americans and Colombians to travel in style on a route where you'd typically be crammed into a slimline seat on a narrow-body plane with no IFE and limited service. Now, don't get me wrong, Emirates isn't perfect, and the plane I was on from Miami to Bogotá was in pretty poor condition. But I'd argue it's better than the competition, at least when you're paying a similar price for an economy seat. So I was excited to see what they had in store for us on the return journey, and excited to check out the busiest airport in South America. So let's head on over to Bogotá El Dorado and get this journey started. We're flying economy, but hopefully we got here early enough where there won't be a huge line for that flight. It does not look like it's very busy, so I think we lucked out. Hola, ¿cómo está? Going to Miami in economy?
Do you need to check this baggage?
Yes, just check this one, yes. After answering a couple security questions about my bag, I was waved through and only had to wait around 5 minutes before being called up to counter number 3. Gracias. Sorry, see you. Hola. ¿Hablas inglés? Okay, very good.
How many bags you are going to
Just one. After the friendly agent had my bag all tagged up and on its way, I popped the question. Also, I have another question for you. Do you have any upgrades available or no? Okay, how much is it to upgrade? It's $845. Okay, yeah, I'll pass on that. Okay, that's just a business? Okay, must be pretty popular today. You think people are gonna actually pay that?
Yes, someone just pay one.
Wow, it's only 3 hours. Well, do they pay all the way to Dubai or just to Miami? Just to Miami, wow. Okay. So yeah, that made the decision pretty easy. And I was told the flight was fairly empty too, so I'd have the seat next to me open. A great start so far.
First you have to be at gate A3 at 4:25 and then to meet up your...
Okay, very good. Muchas gracias. All right, all checked in. It's about 2:19 right now. Very, very pleasant check-in experience. Wonderful agent. Asked her what the upgrade cost would be to business. She said they were available. The price was $825. Absolutely ludicrous for a 3-hour flight, which on that potentially the older business class. Now, I suspect the person or persons who paid $845 to upgrade may have fallen for the old Emirates bait and switch, where they advertise this A380 business class seat, or they show you this one, which is the 777, but cleverly conceals the 3-seater middle section and the lack of lie flatness. The good news is I think we have the seat next to us in economy still free. Hopefully it stays that way, so may have a little bit more room to spread out on this flight. The security line looked a bit overwhelming, but the staff wasn't messing around, and by 2:30 we were on the other side. Gotta say, security was pretty easy, pretty efficient. Got some high-tech machines in there, the passport control was automated, and now we've got we're hungry, gotta have lunch. Strategically saved lunch for the airport because it looked like there were like at least 5 or 6 lounges that we could access with priority pass. We got Avianca, we got El Dorado lounge. I think there's also a Amex lounge here. So the Avianca is staring us right in the face here after security, so that might be the first stop. And indeed it was. Let's head upstairs and check it out. Avianca has 2 lounges up here, one for paying business class passengers, and another for elite members and Star Alliance Gold. The former is clearly better with prime real estate overlooking the tarmac, but the latter is also serviceable with plenty of space and decent food and beverage selection. We did not technically have access to the so-called Diamond Lounge, but given the views, I asked if I could enter briefly to take some pictures, and the agent was a homie and let me in for a few minutes. Is it possible to go over there to take pictures from that lounge, or no? What do you think?
Go with me.
Okay. Thank you, really appreciate that. Made my day. That really was nice of him. He didn't have to do that. And now I certainly have a better impression of Avianca than I did at the beginning of this trip. At any rate, I didn't stay here very long as I also wanted to check out the El Dorado Lounge, which is the best rated lounge at the airport. All right, the El Dorado Lounge looked like it got the best reviews on Google, so we're gonna head there next. It's across from gate A8. It's probably about a 5-minute walk from where we are right now. En route to A8, we passed an Avianca flight headed to Madrid, and then this fast casual Colombian place called Catillos that was giving me big time summer rooftop vibes.
Other passengers are kindly requested to wait for their group announcement. Thank you.
To be honest, I wasn't quite sure what to expect from this place. It was rated highly, but there weren't a whole lot of pictures online, and it's run by the airport, which typically isn't a great thing. But this place turned out to be the most unnecessarily ornate and over-the-top jungle-themed natural history museum I've ever stepped foot in. It's also a bit of a labyrinth with various surprises around every corner. First stop was the buffet, of which there are 2. This one in the back seemed to have more hot options, but the kitchen was having trouble keeping up with demand, as you can see. Ironically, the buffet closer to the entrance seemed to be way more well-stocked and appetizing looking, with this massive paella dish and various salads, sandwiches, fruits, vegetables, and more. As I dove deeper and deeper into the lounge, the surprises just kept on coming. Kids area in here, wow. Look at that. It's like a legit fake jungle. Wow. Great lounge for the kids. Got a conference room. And what do we have here? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the BBC room. I know, I'm literally 12, but I got a good laugh out of this one. In here, we've got beer on tap from Bogotá Beer Company and the Argentina-Uruguay rugby match, which ended up being a bit of a blowout, but it's still interesting to watch. Gracias. As we made our way back towards gate A3, we passed the American Express lounge, if you could call it that. I was quite confused and wasn't really sure what the purpose of this space was, given there wasn't anyone manning the entrance and there wasn't any food or drink. So if you're traveling through Bogotá anytime soon, certainly don't expect a Centurion level experience. Tempting, but we'll pass on that today. All right. It's like 4:25, boarding's supposed to be starting. It looks like people are starting to get on board. The plane's been here for a while. It got here at like 3 p.m. I think earlier than that. Here we are.
214 to Miami.
Alright, upon arrival at gate A3, we find our ride for today, Alpha 6 Echo Charlie Sierra, a 15-year-old Boeing 777-300ER originally delivered to Emirates in 2009. She said just about as boring and uneventful of a life as an airplane can have, with just one owner, no accidents or incidents that I'm aware of, and no special liveries. And sadly, no cabin retrofits for this bird quite yet. She's still got the 232 business class, Panasonic IFE systems, and ancient on-air Wi-Fi. So I was curious to see what sort of condition the cabin would be in. Let's get on board.
English is better for you?
Yes.
Oh, so sorry. I thought you
Your
speak
English is
Spanish.
very good. No.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Have an excellent trip.
Alright, muchas gracias. Hold on. Getting lots of smiles from the gate staff. Everyone seems to be in a very good mood. Emirates seems to be one of the only airlines that stations uniformed crew members at various points throughout the gate area and jet bridge to greet passengers, answer questions, and just be there for them. So it made a huge difference in my opinion. Hi.
How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Excellent.
Great, thank you so much.
Right.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? Got ourselves another old cabin here. I'm not going to complain, it's a pretty classic look. And say what you will about the colors being drab, but I sort of like how plain it is back in economy, with the only real standout design feature being the desert-inspired decor on both the side panels and bulkhead. And you'll notice the economy is in a 3-4-3 configuration, pretty standard these days, but back when Emirates first took delivery of this plane, many of the world's best airlines still used a more spacious 3-3-3 layout on their 777s, so Emirates' decision to go with this more condensed version was a little bold and controversial at the time, but it enabled them to squeeze in 30 extra passengers relative to the competition without sacrificing too much seat width, as they also made the aisles narrower. Seat width here is right around 17 inches compared to 19 inches for the legacy 333 seats. By the way, I was also shown to my seat, 47 kilo, which is a nice touch. Hi, I'm at 47. Yeah, all the way at the back. Very good, thank you. Now, one of the coolest things about Emirates is the diversity of its crew members, and this flight was no exception. The lovely lady who showed me to my seat was Romanian, then the other two I talked with were German and Irish, so good European representation today, and between everyone, I think we had more than 6 languages covered. Right off the bat, it does seem like a little bit more of a empty flight than yesterday, but it does seem like a little bit of deja vu, same seat, not the same plane, but the windows are the same level of cleanliness, aka not too clean. So hopefully we'll be able to get some good shots out there, but I don't know if you can tell. Not complaining though, got 2 windows, no obstructed wing view, and decent amount of space, so should be a good flight to Miami. And indeed, once the boarding door was closed, I had the seat next to me open, as well as the surrounding 10 or so rows. There couldn't have been more than 50 people in economy today. So for that reason, I definitely stood out with my GoPro, and as such, the crew smartly decided to give me some extra attention, appearing with this box of chocolates from first class. Pretty sweet. And originally I thought, oh, they're just putting on a show for the vlog, but I later saw them offer the chocolates to other economy passengers as well, so I think they were genuinely trying to up their level of service across the board.
I'll get their pullback coffee.
Thank you so much.
They are my favourite because I absolutely love chocolate, but they are dark chocolate and it's pretty nice as well.
Nice.
It's good, isn't it? They
Dangerous.
Like pistachio.
As the impromptu tasting session continued, they came by with a cup and encouraged me to fill it up, but I explained that I'd probably combust if I had more than 2 or 3. Oh my god. I can't have more than like 2 or 3. I'm on a crazy diet, so.
It doesn't matter if you're in the air. It doesn't count.
That's right, calories don't count in the air.
Take one of each. Try them.
She did make a convincing argument, and they were all pretty small, so I took a few more and then tapped out. Alright, you sold me on that.
Yeah. Try, why not?
Do you get to ever indulge in any of this stuff? Then we pushed back and began our roughly 15-minute taxi out to runway 14 left, encountering some interesting traffic along the way, including this Learjet, a Satena ERJ, and a Latam Cargo 767. As we're turning onto the center line, you can see those beastly mountains in the distance. So standard procedure here is a sharp left turn around 1,500 feet above ground level to make sure we aren't eaten up by the rising terrain. Flight time today would be a little over 3 hours with a cruising altitude of 38,000 feet, and the views were immense considering it was golden hour. Check this out. But I knew the in-flight service would be happening quickly, so as soon as we busted through the clouds, I headed over to the lab to conduct a quick cleanliness check. Let's see if it's in any better condition than yesterday's flight. Alright, what is the state of this lavatory? Got some toilet paper scattered there on the ground. Toilet bowl itself is clean. No amenities, surprise, surprise. Got the same stuff as last time. Lotion and eau de toilette. Facial tissues. Changing of babies. Some paper towels. We're gonna shave. And of course your mirror and blue vanity lights and smoke detector, and that's about it. Alright, that's a wrap. Let's get out of here. Alright, the meal service is probably going to happen pretty quick here. Considering if I would open the laptop and try the Wi-Fi, but I don't even think it's worth the effort at this point, given what happened yesterday. Juice is probably not worth the squeeze. I don't want to spend $10 and then literally not be able to load an internet speed test. Plus they got ice to keep us entertained and occupied, plus the views. It's plenty to do. So I cracked open the provided Square headphones and perused the movie selection, settling on Chris Pine's most recent movie, Pool Man. However, I only got through around 5 minutes or so before the screen started glitching, so I moved over to 46 Golf where the system was working. This is a common issue with these 777s, and Emirates sort of needs to get their act together, especially for longer flights where entertainment becomes more of a necessity.
Just gonna start the meal service now. We have the tiny prawns with jasmine rice, or we have the beef curry with its coconut mango.
That's tough. They both sound pretty good. I'll go with the beef curry, unless you would strongly recommend otherwise.
I don't know. Well, I have passengers on the way over who had this menu. They said the prawns were good, but
I don't know. True. Alright, I'm going beef.
Beef?
Yeah.
Perfect.
And just a few minutes later, the beef curry showed up, and at this point I was also asked what I wanted to drink.
What can I get you to drink?
Oh, what kind of red wine you got? This is probably just one, right?
No, I will check.
Oh,
You should have the two. I will check for you.
Okay, thanks. Before I could dig into the beef, she came back with the two options and actually let me try both of them before I ultimately settled on the Shiraz. Yeah, I kind of like the Shiraz better.
Yeah? Okay. I'll top up for you. Okay.
And here we go, moment of truth. And the beef itself doesn't look the most appetizing, but I can assure you it smelled amazing. It was balanced out by a nice portion of rice and veggies. Then we also had some choclitos, a bread roll, some sort of tuna salad, and a chocolate mousse. Wow, yeah, upon rewatching this footage, that beef looks downright disgusting, but it was actually delicious. Oh yeah, definitely the right choice. Although I don't know what the prawns are tasted like, but this is nice, like a sweet curry. Not too spicy either. I believe all the food for both legs, Miami Bogotá and Bogotá Miami, is loaded in Miami, and it's by Doe & Co, so that would explain the high quality and tastiness. After dinner was clear, we had just about an hour and a half left to go. And I wasn't a huge fan of Pool Man, so I read the Colombian newspaper for a bit, and before long we began our descent down into MIA, where we'd be landing on the same runway we had departed from just a day earlier.
Emirates 214 Heavy, you're 9 miles from Ennis, heading 070. Descend and maintain 1,500 until established on the localizer, cleared Alice, runway 9er.
But you're right, heading 070, maintain 1,500 until established and cleared Alice, Emirates 214. Or evening, Emirates 214 Heavy, established runway 9.
Emirates 214 Heavy, line of clear for land.
Code on Emirates 214.
Alright, as we're making our way over to gate J17, the Emirates Customer Satisfaction Survey pops up, which means it's time to reflect on this 3-hour fifth freedom flight with the Middle Eastern carrier. First up, on the cost front, as I mentioned in the previous video, this trip cost me $549 round trip, or approximately $275 each way, including the preferred seat selection. Now this flight, unlike yesterday's, was almost completely empty, meaning the crew had a lot more free time, and they definitely made the most of it. Instead of hiding out in the galleys, they were highly engaging and literally provided first-class level service, even to us peasants in the back. The food was delicious, and I'm assuming it's more substantive than you'd find on the competition for this route, so no complaints on that either. The cabin did seem a bit more well-maintained and clean than on A6 ECG, but it's still old. The Wi-Fi downright sucks, and the IFE hardware is on its last leg, even if the movie selection itself is good. On a 15-hour flight from Miami to Dubai, this hard product is borderline unacceptable for an airline like Emirates. And though the service is pretty consistently good, I wouldn't expect anything on this level unless your flight is fairly empty like today's EK214. Anyways, hope this is helpful for you guys. Thanks again for coming along with me today, and I wish you the safest and happiest of travels wherever your journeys may take you. So long from Miami.